Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. We're going to pick up maybe a few hours after where we last left off, as you're in a room at the Merry Guard. You have just had an emotional night with Anscombe after everything that happened last time. And so we're going to push the clock ahead to bright and shining and early. 7 in the morning, when you awaken to a ping, 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 ping. There is a tapping of a bird on your window at the Merry Guard.
Oh, okay. Can she blurrily look over and identify the bird?
It is a blue jay, and it has a tiny little note tied around its
Oh,
leg. You get the
okay.
impression it is a form of animal messenger.
And this could not be bad in any way.
No, it's a cute little blue bird.
It's just a little guy. She will climb out of bed and head toward the window and
Hold on, let me pull you over to the tavern scene.
splash.
You hear, well, Anscombe's there. You hear the busy morning rush of the Merry Guard happening down below stairs. And this bird is expectantly looking at you now that it sees that you are awakened, and it's just standing there looking at you.
I'll crack open the window for it.
Okay, so the window slides up, the bird kind of hops in and then holds out its little leg. You see there is a very fine, tiny ribbon tying this tiny little scroll onto its leg.
I gotta check. She's gonna use her staff to detect magic to see is there anything dangerous about
The
this
bird is
bird or
magical.
this scroll. Okay, yeah.
The
Which
scroll
you
is
figured.
magical. The ribbon is magical.
Any evocation is what I really want to know.
No, none of it's evocation.
Okay.
It's all like transmutation and illusion.
She's gonna look squarely at the bird and like point a finger at it and say, "You better not be fucking with me."
The bird looks at you with a tilt's head, and it looks like it points a wing at you. And that's all it does.
Okay. She'll undo the little teeny tiny ribbon.
Okay, as soon as you take off the ribbon, the bird patiently waits for you to read the note.
What does it say?
The note says, Dahlia, or perhaps Lorna. When would you like to meet? I notice Fionn has not returned. I have to expect that means things have gone well.
It's my dad's handwriting, right?
It is. It's very
Okay.
fine, almost calligraphic in like the scrolls and line work of the letters, even though it's all tiny and compressed down onto this note. And you see that like he started out writing wider, and then the words get more and more compressed towards the end of the scroll.
Shit space.
Yeah.
Lorna, like she had been thinking about this, but doesn't actually have like a good answer to like where they should meet. So she scrambles, looks for a pen, and then finally like sets about with her own little reply and just says, "Meet me for breakfast at the Merry Guard, 8 a.m." Give herself like an hour.
Okay.
And then she will reattach it to the bird.
You see the bird is like patiently waiting for you to do so, and then once it is reattached, the ribbon like winds itself around the leg. It doesn't let you try and tie the knot, and then the bird just flies away.
Glad that wasn't a trap. Or was it?
You hear from the bed. What's going on?
There was a bird messenger from my dad. So we're gonna meet him in an hour.
An hour? Oh, you couldn't. Oh, and he gets
I
up.
thought an hour was a lot of time.
Anscombe like has been crying, like his face is a mess.
She'll put him together. She has Presty. She'll sweep him up.
What am I gonna say? I'm meeting your father.
Hi. Yes.
You met
And I
my...
already did the yes, and it was very stressful. So actually, you know what? You're right. This is very scary.
Yeah. Thanks. He like washes his face thoroughly in the little basin the room provides.
Mhm.
Um, and he doesn't put on his armor. He puts on like the finest traveling clothes he has, which are, you guys have some pretty nice clothes, particularly from your costumery in the past. But finally, he looks at you and he goes, "Okay, how do I look?"
I think you look great.
Right. Do I look court your daughter great?
Can you just kind of take a step back and just take him in? Like, how does he shore up to like the young men in society that she grew up with? Just always kind of flittering around.
Roll a history.
Okay. Oh shit! I leveled up.
You did. Everyone's level 12.
15. I rolled terribly.
With a 15, he doesn't really. So Anscombe is pretty tall, broad shouldered, and he's been living on like rations for weeks. So
Hmm.
uh, he looks pretty skinny, like he's lost weight.
Okay.
But your whole group has. Um, he is. The clothes he's wearing are nice. They're clean. But compared to like the finery of like Central Iron Gate, no. He looks like a
Honestly,
commoner. He looks like a merchant's
she's not
son.
worried about it. Actually, I think she's like the difference of like kind of who she grew up with and like I think there's also as she's kind of taking him in, she's kind of mentally picturing that Jacques Decoir, the piece of garbage, that
Yeah,
pompous rich man's son who she saw in like the periphery of parties and all of his air did nothing for his personality. He was just so obnoxious. And I think she's like heartened by that, like just how starkly different like the impressions they both give. Like this is a man that she would want to give the time of day, as
sure.
opposed to
Jacques Decor and those of
yeah.
his ilk. Okay.
Yes. So
Um,
so she looks at him and she's like, "I think you're perfect."
that's good enough for me. Okay.
And he's going to have to get used to a lot of things really quickly. I think he'll be spending more time taking in my changing in appearance.
What do you mean?
Well, when I saw him in the dream, I didn't front load all of this information that he would need, or I removed the elements that weren't important to that conversation. So I got rid of my horns and the red hair, and he knows I lost a hand, but like there's a lot of everything else is going to be a surprise to him, I think.
You're right. I kind of looked past all that. I kind of forgot about it, to be
Well, you've
honest.
been with me basically every step of the way, so as things changed, you've adapted, and he's basically going from I was in one piece when I left, and I'm just a completely different person now.
You see Anscombe like ruminates on that for a moment and remembers early Lorna, the very
Mhm.
beginning, and you see his eyebrow quirks and he says, "Yeah, you're right. You're, you look like a completely different person. So for the better,
Hopefully,
in
I've,
my opinion.
I've grown into it.
I mean, I think so, but for someone just seeing you, yeah, I could see why it would be surprising. All right, I'm sure the rest of the squad is awake, or at least some of them, excluding Lilith.
Do you think he should meet them all at once, or do you think he should start with you and me, and then maybe intro, like go with the party maybe a little bit later? What do you
Maybe
think?
like a separate table, like you and me at one table and the rest is at the next one, and
And just not point out that they're with us
not right
later.
away. Maybe after like the initial
So,
shock of holy shit, you have horns gets over.
I just feel like having to like do the whole introductions with the whole party and then like get into like this deep personal business about like Adora and my upbringing would just feel weird with like five other strangers there,
So
for him.
we wait until the gritty, you
Yeah.
know. After
And
all
then
that, then we'd be like, by the way, this is the rest of the
here are all
team.
my friends.
They can be at the table behind us, which means that Tier will hear all of it and convey it all
That's
to
true.
everyone else.
That's not a bad idea. Okay.
I
Let's go
stumble
make sure
across
everybody
those
knows the
every
plan.
once in a while.
She like stops herself from wanting to muss his hair out of affection for being silly because he just put himself together. And so she'll pat him on the back instead and say, "All right, let's make sure everybody knows what the plan is."
All right. And so as you go downstairs, you do see, uh, immediately you do see Tier and Skolna at one of the tables. As they are seated there, uh, it's not immediately apparent, like, if they are expecting you or if they're drinking or having breakfast already. Because you just see that Tier and Skolna are, like, at a table and they're quietly talking. Like, pretty close, like, sat next to each other.
Can I assess a vibe? Like, does she think she needs to take a minute to let them finish their conversation?
Roll an insight check.
Okay. 25. That's pretty
Uh,
good.
It seems like it's an intense conversation, but the look on Tier's face is one of humor. So you don't think it's actually serious, but then all mystery is washed away when Tier sees you and he goes, "Oi, Lorna, we need your opinion. Get over here."
Okay. Well, I'll take that as an invitation because it was one, and she will go
Yeah.
over.
um, you will
My
notice.
opinion is always freely given.
You'll notice that
Ooh. That's your
Skona
art.
has new art. Yes. Uh, as Tier and Skolna like look at you as Anscombe sits down next to you. They have two plates in front of them. One plate has like this strange pastry where like it looks like a pancake or a crepe is wrapped around something fruity.
Pan
You can't
crepe.
tell what it is. And then on the other plate you see is a waffle that is immediately recognizable, but it is piled high with various fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And Tier slides the waffle towards you in a conspiratorial way. The waffle was in front of himself, and he says, "Now, this is very important, all right? We were talking about this for the last 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion," and he glances down at the waffle like several times, "which is superior?"
And you're not going to tell me who's on what side?
"I'm not going to tell you." As he, like, seems to lean on one arm towards the waffle.
She kind of like leans over, props her elbows on the table, and then puts her chin in her hands, and she says, "There is one objective truth between these two dishes, in which is superior. And I cannot be compromised in stating the truth. The crepe is superior,
You
Tier.
bitch!
The
I
crepe
fucking knew it!
is...
I knew I couldn't trust you!
There's nothing better than a crepe."
Oh, and you see Tier just like leans back with a look of frustration, and Skolna just has a very small smirk on her face,
Yeah.
and she just nods at you.
You could have paid me 1,000 gold and I still would have said the crepe was better.
Well, I guess you have your principles.
I do. This is on important stuff like this. Yes, absolutely.
Are we eating them, or are you just discussing
We
them?
better. I would be really disappointed if I saw a crepe and then could not eat it.
As this conversation is happening, like a dwarven, like waitress walks up
Uh-huh.
and
The
says,
buxom one.
"Exactly, you know the one." As she steps up, and she says, "Oh, the rest of you would like some breakfast as well? We have
Yeah,
specials."
obviously we want the crepes.
"Oh, all right. Crepes for each of you." And Anscombe says, "You know what? I'll try the waffle." And he's looking square at you,
She looks so disappointed in him.
and you, Tears just, "Yeah, yes, I knew it. Knew I could trust Anscombe to have my back. He always has." And the dwarf archer, the waitress is like, "All right,
I don't
not
know what I've
don't
gotten
need
involved
don't
in.
need to know what that's about. A waffle and crepe breakfast, fair enough. And I'll be back with some clava for the rest of the table." And
Oh,
she,
thank you so much.
"Oh, I know. I remember you. And she goes to the kitchen. As breakfast begins to be brought out, Anscombe, he like seems to be like preparing himself mentally, so he's kind of checked out.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, Norre and Lilith all appear, as does Burke. Um,
Hey, Burke.
Burke looks like he's been awake for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lilith looks like she's just woken up. Norre looks like somewhere in between the two.
Yeah, but she's always put together if she wants to be.
Norre definitely seems to have her shit together. But as breakfast is brought out,
Bless you.
excuse me, Clava's brought out and such, and the party is gathered. Anscombe says, "All right, while everyone's eating, which is great because no one will talk back, we're gonna have a conversation with Mr. Kraus, Lord Kraus, Lorna's dad."
Dad.
And everyone at the table is just nodding because they all know that. And when I say we're going to, I mean it's going to be in like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, time has flown, hasn't it?
Loeth like swallows hard and then says, "What?
So,
Now?"
yes and no. I would like to start this conversation without overwhelming him, and I feel like introducing all of you immediately might be a bit much.
Are you trying to
Considering the
say that
tone of
we're a lot to handle?
yes,
Yeah, that's
yes,
what
we
she's
are.
trying to
Yes, I
say.
am.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, we have some personal. Obviously, you all know about it, but I feel like he won't be super comfortable discussing some of the personal issues with like five new strangers immediately right off the bat. So I figured I'd introduce Anscombe to him. We'd sit down and talk, and you guys would be like next to us. And then when the time is right, I'll just be like, "Hey, come on over," and you'll have heard basically everything, anyways. But then he can kind of feel a little bit more at ease in the initial conversation.
You hear in your mind a Nore's voice suddenly as she
Oh,
says telepathically, "I've come up with a new trick. So if you're in trouble or if you need help, just think it loud. At me."
Lorna looks like eyes widened at Nore, and she'll
She is
think
looking
back.
at you with a very calm look on her face.
Uh huh. She'll look back and just say, "Yeah, definitely new trick. Did the others know about this?
In your
Should I keep it
mind, you hear,
to us?"
"I haven't said, but I figure it'll be funnier if they find out in the moment."
Like a small smile plays at Lorna's lips, and she thinks back. I won't say a word.
If they ask about a loud and consistent ritual I was performing last night, it was so I could do this.
Like it. I'll think loud, but I don't anticipate trouble. But of course, it follows us anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So she like zones back in and says, "Okay, does everybody understand that? You're just, you don't have to meet him right away. You can prepare yourselves."
Skolna says, "Whatever you need, that's fine."
Thanks.
So what? I mean, you're gonna be. You want to go to that table right next to us, and we'll just stay here and not look at you?
Yeah, basically.
Uh, okay, fine, I guess if
No, you're
that's how
just a
you want
bunch
to do
of
it.
Marigard mercenaries, which is not at all a lie.
Speaking of which, before all this happens, we need to make a stop maybe at Sekka's or at the Tinker's or maybe at Glass's because I don't know if you noticed this, but most of us are just wearing the standard Marigard armor.
I
Um,
have, and that hasn't caused problems,
no,
but
it's
it
suitable,
could.
but we should at least get it fitted if we're gonna stick with it.
That's fine. I'm actually wanted to go to Glass because I wanted to look for a communicrystal.
That's a
So at
good
the very
idea.
least, we can stop there. But after my conversation with my dad, sure, we can go wherever you want. Actually, and she looks at Norway and says out loud, "So our presumable next stop is headed north. Do you want to talk to? Do you want to take like kind of a leave and go there? Or do you want to talk to Persia about getting an assignment in the area? What do you think?
We can ask if he has an assignment around there. It
Kind of
might help.
justify us going that
It might
way.
help with extra coin coming in the pocket as well. Maybe generate some uh, good relationships around. If we help
Mhm.
someone, they might help us. That being said, if there's nothing up there, or at least not a task that's close enough to the Misty Vale or the glacial, the icy vestiges, maybe we take leave.
Sure, we'll play it by ear. I was just thinking about that last night.
What I know for a fact is no matter where we end up going for any task, we're going to have to travel through Taka, which is at the very southernmost point of Terracona. There's no other places to teleport unless we can hire a mage, and I don't think there's many teleportation circles anywhere in the icy vestiges. That wouldn't be the same for the actual capital, Unahi. There's certainly one there, but there's a whole lot of legal regulation, and
Ugh,
I
won't
like
skip that.
we people that live in Terracona stay away from Unahi. It's a fucking mess. So maybe
Okay,
we charter a ship, or maybe we, just plan to set a trail by horse out of Taka. It's not a pleasant voyage either way. It's going to be cold.
so warm weather gear.
Lilith immediately perks up and says, "Oh, this dragon scale mail that fucking guy got me forever ago. It's finally going to be useful.
But it looks great on you.
Thanks. It's fucking dragon scale mail, so you you don't knock it, but
You were kind of set up for this whole Tyrus thing from the jump, weren't you?
oh, don't say that out loud.
Why?
Tyrus is not. Uh, she doesn't like to be compared to prime material dragons.
Oh, noted. She's above that.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, she literally is a god.
right. But I mean, it's like you'll get killed by an emissary if you do it too much.
She just kind of looks up where like the sky is, like through the roof of the tavern, and she says, "Sorry."
I think you're probably fine. I'm just saying, don't do that in the future.
Okay. Yep.
Dragons are
So
proud and shit.
I much. We will talk about the particulars after she like looks at her invisible watch and sees that she's got like 5 minutes left. We'll sort this out, but we are thinking of it. We'll figure out clothing, trips, blah 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 blah.
That's where I'm in no rush. I mean, I'm in a bit of a rush, but I'm not in a rush here right now, if you understand.
Right in this exact moment, I do understand.
Vengeance, as you would have said, doesn't exactly have a clock.
Mhm.
It's not like we're trying to save anyone. We're just going to kill people.
It's not like we're trying to save anyone. Lorna, she gives Nore a sympathetic look, but doesn't say anything on it.
You see that Nore's cheeks are like hardened and her jaw is set. She
She's
doesn't
sad,
look.
yeah.
She's not happy, but she's determined.
Yeah.
And Anscombe says, "All right, we better skedaddle to another
Just get
table."
her. Yep.
And he
She'll
picks up the
lift her
carafe of
grapes.
clava. You both grab your various breakfast accoutrement and you go to the other table. And Tyr says, "Oi, pour me a cup before you walk off with it." And Anscombe's like, "Sorry." He pours him out one, and then you and Anscombe go and you sit at like a
She
nearby
does a
table.
quick presti of her own self. Which, she looks so startlingly different than she used to, but she might as well look nice as well.
Yeah, you look very well clean and put together. What clothes is Lorna wearing for this meeting? Is she wearing traveling
not-
gear? Is she wearing her her robes and stuff for combat, or is she like?
She's not kitted for combat because Anscombe has dressed down for this. She doesn't want to look like she's ready for a fight, and she's not wearing the finery that she used to. She's kind of drawing that line in the sand, like I am a different person. I've grown up. I'm not who you remember, and that's important to her. So she's looking peasant isn't the right word, but like just like a civilian, just
She's
like
a peasant.
a person who does hard work.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. It's so probably like your traveling clothes, basically.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't take long before you see. You
I'm
have
nervous.
you have like a direct line of sight on the front door
Yeah,
from
she
the
sat
table.
in that spot for a reason.
Yeah. And as you're sitting there, you do see the door darken as the towering form of Keen enters the room.
There he is.
Um, and then he like steps in and just looks around and then waits next to the door. And then you see wearing like not commoner's clothes, but close. Very simplified. The art doesn't do him justice because he looks more like a traveling merchant than a noble, as your father, Lord Balun Cross, steps into the Merry Guard. And you see, as he steps in, he's like fidgeting. He looks anxious. He looks as anxious as you feel. As he like looks around in the tavern, and you see he like leans over and says something quietly to Keen, and Keen is just looking straight at you.
Lorna will, as soon as he comes in the door, she'll like stand up, put her hands on the table and kind of like wave to catch his attention.
Uh, the next moment is in stages. Lord Balin Cross looks at you and sees you waving, and his face lightens and he holds a hand up to acknowledge your wave, and then you see his brow furrow a little, and then raise, and he looks alarmed. Which hand do you wave with?
It'll be her porcelain hand, but he's already familiar with that, so that's not
Yeah, it's
as
not new
shocking
to
as the
him,
rest of her.
but still, like then he does approach, and he doesn't even seem to wait for Keen. He just like kind of hurriedly comes over to the table.
When he comes up to the table, she'll, she's already standing. She'll pull him into a hug.
Oh, oh, you, uh, you were not, uh,
I did tell you.
you did, in, in person. It is,
Startling.
that's the word. Yes, startling. Thank you. Hello, my dear. And he grasps you in a firm hug. You feel the floorboards as Keen like walks up behind him. And you're like he's hugging you, and your head is over his shoulder, and Keen looks down at you, and you just hear him quietly say, "Hello."
Hi, Keen.
He doesn't say anything else. When Lord Balin finally lets go of you, he like puts himself away. His hands are like on your like waist, on your right
It
underneath.
kind of like looks at you, kind
Yeah,
of
he's literally
assessment.
taking you in, and he says, "You've grown so much, and you've been so hurt. What? This is.
Being a mercenary is not easy.
Oh no, I could have told you that. Did you need to go and fight the world to find that out for yourself?
I guess so. Hands-on experience.
I'm very impressed. You have an aura about you. You feel there's power. Um. Excuse me. What are my manners? You are Anscombe Frost, yes?" And he holds his hand out.
Lorna looks surprised.
And Anscombe like, yeah. How did? Yes. It is a pleasure to meet you, sir. And Anscombe stands and shakes his hand, and he says, "How did you know who I am?" And Lord Cross says, "Oh, I saw you on the Scry Views during your the festival over a year ago."
He saw us fight Ulrich.
"I did." And Anscombe's like, "Oh, oh. Well, I've gotten better since then. Much
We
better.
both have.
That was a titan of a forged. I am impressed that you came out of it in one piece at all. I understand they have some protections and securities in place during that festival, but still, I admit I was chewing the nails off of my fingertips at the time." Keen just nods.
Oh, you saw it too?
Keen nods again. Uh, is this where we are?
Yes, please sit down.
He does. And immediately the dwarven waitress again steps up.
Keen.
Keen,
We're gonna have to
like,
pull up a chair to the booth.
no, Keen, he, like, sits a little further back. He's got, like, the knees spread wide, but he does manage to sit down. The dwarven barmaid walks up and says, "Oh, hello, dears. Can I help you with some breakfast, maybe? I see that you've joined our own favorite customers." And Lord Cross looks at her and says, "I'll have what she's having."
Crepes, the superior breakfast food,
Of course,
right?
of course. There's no argument.
Does it
Anyway,
seem like he's humoring her, or is that his real opinion?
roll an insight check.
Important roles here. Oh, stupid good. 31.
Uh, I mean, he likes crepes. It seems like he's telling the truth.
That's where she got it from. They were a crepe household
It's
first.
probably. And when the waitress turns to Keen, Keen just says, "Clover." And the waitress is like, "You have a carafe? I'll just refresh it for you. No problem." And she departs. So, you've come far. And Anscombe, like, is clearly trying to find, like, words to say. And Lord Cross says, yes, we have. And it's been precarious, to say the least. I admit I was interested in taking a window ship. But I was dissuaded by my manservant here. Just to invite such troubles, maybe not so wise.
At least at the current moment, maybe not.
Right. That's what he said. Things were a little persnickety, considering what's happening north of here. Speaking of which, has the conflict between Ko and Aurelia affected your business?
Only indirectly.
I was concerned that you might have been pulled into the front lines for that.
They'd have to pay us first.
Well, there's coin to go around, but that conflict, from what I hear, has been bloody and rampant.
My team isn't interested in fighting on either side of the war. Anscombe's the only Aurelian, and we have no Caens, so...
And
we can
frankly,
pick
I
the
don't
jobs.
remember it, so I don't really need to care.
She kind of puts a hand on his back and just pats him. We'll get there.
Right. And when he said I don't remember it, Lord Cross like looks at him with like a confused look on his face. But he doesn't like linger on it, and he says,
There's a hierarchy of things that we should probably address.
"I suppose that is an advantage of a Merigard mercenary team, is you can pick and choose your battles in some way. So, what is next for Team Lorna?"
The Nightingales.
The Nightingales.
Mm-hmm.
It feels nostalgic, and I'm not sure why.
We'll get into it. It was informed by past occurrences.
Well, it's a catchy name, and I'm sure you've got many followers that have heard of you and are hoping you return to save them from their own
advertising.
troubles. Have you?
Oh, here and there. I've also been making my own spells and advertising that way too.
Your mother would have had none of that. No one could ever know what she was about, and it is a stark contrast, let me tell you. So what have you been working on? What have you been spreading about? Please.
She'll go into like a whole, like, this is probably a good easing because it's not like too personal or too traumatic for her to just kind of explain the spells that she's developed since her time in the Merigard. You know, she goes over burning blood, she goes over instant embrittlement, guys of the golem.
Yeah.
Last one, lip lock.
When you talk about instant embrittlement, he's like, "I saw you use that one against the Titan. That was an inspired move. I had no idea what that magic was, and we couldn't find it, whatever spell that was."
It's a Lorna original.
Well, it was incredible. We'd really turned the fight in your favor when that whole weapon just crashed into pieces. I was impressed. I'm individual quite fond of material science, as you know. So
I do know.
The fact that you knew how to embrittle such a large amount of iron, I was proud of you. Let me say that.
She looks chuffed, pleased as punch to hear him say he's proud of her. Before I run away with anything else, I feel like it's probably important to just establish that Anscombe here, he and I are romantic. I know that's kind of just out of the gate, but I figured I know.
You are just as socially insightful as your mother was. I did see you kiss him after that bout.
Oh yeah. Did we do that?
Yes.
She looks a little embarrassed.
Anscombe, like, also his face is just red under the green. He just says, uh, I'm sorry.
I don't think you need to apologize.
You don't. I understand. You are young, you are youthful, you worked together to survive a very precarious situation, and you have chemistry. I'm not surprised. And also, I haven't been around to tell my daughter what to do for the last year and a half or so, and I'm not likely to start now. And you see he like is looking at Anscombe as he's speaking. There is a clear warning in his eyes as he's saying that. But he sounds genuine. And Anscombe says, "Well, I'm glad that you're okay with it. I just Lorna means a lot to me, and we've been through a whole lot, and she has really kind of given me a path to walk that wasn't just squandering in my own problems. She's helped me grow and change for the better, and I owe her a lot. So, you know, we had all this tension and worry about, everything that's happened with where Lorna came from. And it's a relief to know that you seem not what
Sensible.
we first thought. I am uncomfortably aware of what the origins of this tension were. I know you are a competent soldier, and you certainly seem to be proficient in some magic. I imagine that is your influence. He looks
He
at
was
you.
interested, and I just helped him figure out spells.
Your mother was the same way.
Um, we should probably talk about her, no?
I would like to, but I was really trying to ease the ice away rather than break it, if you know what I mean.
I do.
I'm not
Um,
here to make things uncomfortable, and I'm not here to try and drag you away from your professional. You have work, you're earning money, you are well kitted than some of the finest mercenaries I've hired to protect the estate.
Mhm.
I have eyes. I'm looking at a professional mercenary group, or at least two of them.
I figured we could introduce you to the rest of them later.
That's fine. I'm not here to pressure you either way. But yes, we need to speak about your mother. Atlantis is a volatile topic.
A complicated topic.
It depends on how you look at it.
Well, that's kind of where I want to start. If there is a place to start. How much do you know about her?
What do you mean? From what standpoint?
It's hard to explain. How much did she let you know about who she was, where she came from?
She told me that she had been experimenting with various forms of resurrection and reincarnation spells. She had played around with the clone spell a lot. At the time, I wasn't very well educated on the cloning, or the mechanisms by which it functioned. She filled me in on the basics, what I would need to know to help her. At the time, it was a professional relationship. She would provide with me with resources that I could use for my own investments and investigations, back when we were still on Candinos.
Mm-hmm.
My family still handles a lot of smuggling out of there. Um, all above board by this nation's standpoints, so I don't believe anyone is going to come a-knocking. Though there was some rumor lately that my brother had gotten into smuggling haze, which is a disgraceful truth, but it is what it is. I will not, nor assume, to be able to tell him what to do. Anyway, that all aside, Atlantis told me about her practices with the cloning spell. We worked together to come up with all sorts of alchemical solutions and magical components that could assist with the cloning spell through the influence of other people. I admit this is a dark moment in my history.
Mm-hmm.
There were people that were enemies of the Majer family. We worked together to extinguish them. She pointed out to me that if they had been dealt with, but in a way that could progress her arcane practice, we would win in both situations. And so, we handled it as such. Many Majer hosted balls and dances where enemies of the family would be located and secreted away to be used for experiments. I am ashamed of that portion of my life. However, it seemed to me as though the magic was working. The spells that she was building were coming to fruition. She said it had something to do with the soul magic that these people had left behind, and that she had an arrangement with an other that would facilitate such magic. I don't. She would never come clean with me about that, no matter how heated the arguments got.
Mm-hmm.
I take it you know of this.
Yeah.
Is it best that I don't know, as she
It's
seemed to
not
insist?
at this point, everything feels kind of moot. Whatever she felt like she couldn't tell you, like it was a devil.
He, like, his eyes glance up to the horns on
A
your
different
head.
devil.
Hmm.
But a different related devil.
Oh, okay. Well,
She had a long-standing arrangement with this person.
a person that could facilitate the channeling of souls.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose devil would make sense. Well, very well.
Why not?
That's not really alarming at this point.
Exactly. I figure whatever was significant to hide 20 years ago is probably not so important now.
No. Yeah, well, anyway. She insisted that when everything came to a close, when our workstation had been discovered, word had gotten out that she was doing what experiments she was doing, and she had been slated for execution. It all seemed according to plan to her, which was alarming, let me say that. I had always thought of the clone spells as just a contingency. apparently not. She informed me that for the clone spell to properly work, I had to carry her new vessel far away, or at least as far away as I could get before her final moments. We had arranged that I might use a lot of our founding coin to set up a new lineage in Ceres. It was still during the war, or rather, it was after the war, and the recovery, I should say. So lots of documents were easy to forge. Lots of illegalities were easy to pass by the marshals and such. So, I traveled south, as far south as I could get, and I had made it into Port Royal when I assume the moment happened when you were crying in my parcel.
Bag. Yes.
You had been injured because the vessel was... it was a small black object, and I assume it is where it was the phylactery or the target for Atlantis to clone into. But it was within a glass vial, and that vial broke when you appeared. So my first task was to find a Physica immediately and cure you of your your laceration from the vial breaking. But that was the last I'd heard of Adora, as you say. Atlantis. From the moment I left the smuggling docks. She told me to trust her, and that she knew what she was doing.
And here we are.
That when it was you in my parcel, and not her, when I learned something had gone wrong, and a new life was with me. Frankly, for the next few years I had washed my hands of it. I had assumed I should try and move on. I had grown to love Atlantis and her dedication to her work and her genius. She had such ambition. She was impossible to slow in her pursuits. As soon as she thought she had an answer or knew where an answer could be found, there was nothing in this world that could stop her, and anything that tried would get plowed out of the way. Take it from me, I know. Regardless, when I learned that your soul was... When a cleric of Tysus told me that yours was a new soul, I knew I couldn't dwell on what had been changed, what had been lost. So, like we spoke in the dream, I decided in that moment I would be your father and raise you as best as I could. And then, well, I learned of the attachment of her soul being intertwined with yours. And I learned of forging. And he, puts a hand on Keen's shoulder, and the wonders that it can create. The people it can save. So, now we get to the sticky wicket of the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you can speak to Atlantis. I have been studying the methods of forging for decades. The most recent forge, the first ones that came out of a place on Kondinos, the first real forged individuals were crafted by a goblin inventor. He came up with the means of creating a network of, well, I don't think you need me to get into the details, but through magic and a powerful transmutation enchanted artifact, a soul within a forged body, it is as though they are alive. They experience all of the senses. They can eat, they drink, they can sleep, they can make love, they can fly, they can perform magics, they can even use magics that are bound to their bloodline, like a sorcerer or even a druid. They can do all of these things just as a person could have. It's truly magnificent. There are moments in my studies I've considered it would be easier if I had become a forged myself to prolong my own mortality, as I don't know if you notice, I'm getting along in my years. Without disease-curing magic, I'm sure I would have perished years ago.
Disease curing?
Yes. I'm prone to kidney problems.
Ah.
A side effect of substance abuse in my youth. Another thing I'm not proud of.
Sure.
I hope, in the time since we spoke, you might have reached out to Atlantis and told her of my studies. My goal is to offer her another chance at life.
So we have spoken about it. I presented to her your ambition was. I'm not certain what she wants to do about it quite yet. It was she had gotten used to the idea of not moving on, I suppose. She had just accepted that she would be lost until we connected. Um, it's complicated. There's a lot about her you seem to not have known. And I don't really know where to start with that.
Is there a way I could speak with her?
Give me a moment. She'll shut her eyes and she'll reach out and say, Adora, have you been listening?
There is a moment's pause when you hear, almost immediately, uh, how could I not?
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know what to think. For your whole life, I've assumed that I was going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be bound to you until you were done for. By whatever means that may be. I had promised myself that I would do what I could to prolong your life, give you the secrets that I had learned in my years as to self-preservation. And then, everything is so different there, now. Gods are around, and you have one of their favor. It's such a different place.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me is tremendously curious. Part of me is rent asunder by the harm I've wreaked across that place. But you've righted one of the most grievous wrongs I'd performed. The wound that I'd created in Nolu's Grove. Since you've done that, since you'd sealed that rift, or brought me there so I could, same difference, really. I will never atone for all the wrong I've done. At least, I'll never atone for it through you. But as I've watched you right the wrongs for your friends, Lorna, and handle things with a careful, measured hand, in how you dealt with the Hydra and the political mess that was Shona,
Big mess.
and how you put it all on the line for Fionn, a woman that betrayed you. It makes me question everything I'd already decided. If there was a way I could fix what I'd done wrong and do it myself, instead of putting that onus on you, I would.
Really?
Really.
Okay. We can do that. We can try.
I need it to be clear. If in this attempt any harm comes to you, absolutely not.
Okay.
I will die here before hurting you there.
I understand. We don't know what it entails yet, so let's explore our options, okay?
Of course.
And maybe we could face your Sacrarium together.
I don't look forward to that.
Maybe we could get Malcolm's soul together.
Maybe we could.
Let's see what he has to say. I figure you don't want to take the reins in this to talk to him yourself. I know it's for emergencies only.
I don't want to risk it.
Okay. But thank you for your answer. I'll communicate that with him.
I figure if I don't answer now, I will be answering never.
I think you're really brave.
I'm nothing compared to you.
She'll open her eyes after the conversation she had, and she'll say, I was sorry that was awkward.
It was alarming. Are you all right?
Yes. I was just
you get used to
asking her what her opinion was.
It's like that every time. And Anskin just nods.
She has a stronger opinion as she has been processing my experiences. And she is interested in righting some of her wrongs, as many as she is capable of herself.
Really?
And if this opportunity doesn't bring me any harm, she's willing to try it.
Well, this is tremendous news. I am... Well, this is fantastic.
I do have to say that I can't anticipate your previous relationship being immediate or expected with her. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
A lot of time has passed.
Yes, I understand.
I know you're not stupid. I just if you are able to communicate with her directly again, I think conversations need to be had.
Yes, I understand that. Um, what are you, um, what are you expecting? I suppose. I feel like this is a warning of a kind, and I'm not certain as to why.
I feel like a lot of her history is something that she'll have to tell you if we can get to that point. But what I can comfortably say is that she is significantly older than you may have thought.
Well, um, I know that she was experimenting with a clone spell, and I
Mhm.
know she had used it on herself at least once.
Uh, can Lorna, I'm pretty sure this is above the table. I just want to ask before I say it. Was Adora initially born in like 5001?
Yeah,
Yeah, good. All right. So,
she's very
uh,
old.
she's like a
She's
thousand
over
years
a
old.
millennium old now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lorna would just kind of be like, yes, I did get her exact birth date, and it
Oh,
was in the year 5001.
uh, what? She's like you. She's a half elf.
She wasn't initially a half elf. She was reincarnated into one the first time she died.
How many times did she die?
At least five.
Good heavens, Atlantis! Get a hold of yourself!
The first life, she was a couple centuries old.
A 1,000 years. 1,000 years old. She would know so many things about things that she never told me about. I'm a little
That's
cross.
why. That's why she kind of puts like a placating hand on his like shoulder. That's why I think if you were able to have a straightforward conversation with her, say she was forged,
Oh, we
the
will be
I think
having
the
conversations.
the veil could then be lifted on everything. I suppose your positions would change. You would no longer be this kind of dynamic duo doing some dubious things. It would be more like long separated parents getting back together and trying to navigate
I'm
these
going to
people.
be completely honest with you right now, Dahlia. Do you prefer Dahlia or Lorna? I'm trying
I
to.
have no pro I have no Dahlia now that I know what I know. I just happen to be known by Lorna to everybody I know here.
Then why don't we fit with uh, do as the Kayans do, speak where we are. Lorna, I am, for the last 18 years, I have been trying to set my old life behind me. I have been trying to work legally. And frankly, it's a lot less stressful. I admit it was likely due to the very large sum of coin I had as a nest egg to start with. Um, but the Majere family and my ties to that has been quietly sequestered off into history, and I have no intention of returning to my nefarious wrongdoings back when I lived in Condinos. Criminal enterprise is fascinating and all, but there is constantly the threat of being stabbed in the back, or, as Parisians would say,
Hmm.
shot in the face. So, if Atlantis does agree to be forged, one, a new name will be required. Something
She's used to that.
I'm gathering that.
That won't be weird. I've actually taken to calling her Lily
Lily.
because
Lily and
I was
Dahlia.
Dahlia.
Lily.
Yeah.
I can make the connection. Um, well, Lily will need to begin the process of founding a new life story for the questions that will be asked of her. I realize this won't be her first rodeo, but it will be the first time someone else is doing it for her, and I will
That's
not
true.
be put in prison again for something that was not my fault.
Hmm.
I am willing and able to put my name on whatever manufacture design she wishes to have for her forged body. That is the advantage of a forged. You can choose what your form looks like. You can also upgrade it and make changes, though I hear it's very painful.
Oh, so you might as well have it right the first
Have
time.
it right the first time, yes. You don't want to go at changing things with a grinding stone in the future, because it feels like flesh to you, the
Ooh.
forged. You understand, yes. I
Hmm.
understand the spell Feign Death is very useful for those, but you still feel some of it, so I'm getting sidetracked again. Apologies. If Lily is sincere in her desires to begin a life forged, I will immediately reach out to my artificer and we will begin the design of a new body for her. The nearest teleportation circle to my home in Irongate is at the Scrollkeepers Guild in Irongate, and I happen to have their circle imprint, but it is expensive. So, if I have the choice, I would rather just go on the voyage once more. Unless I suppose I can just reach out. I don't have the means to communicate with Gerald very well from here, sort of by
You just need a
letter.
teleportation.
Well, to
You have the circle.
there is a circle at the Scrollkeepers Guild. I don't have
I
one in
could
my estate. You understand?
no, but I could send you there.
You have a
Probably.
teleportation circle of access to you.
I have the spell.
Right, you need a circle to send one from one circle to the next.
So I was actually going to offer, instead of, after this conversation, instead of staying here in Ferrum, where the um, hail could potentially find both of us, and I
Yes,
don't want to leave you here,
that is a concern. Yes, and
we have a safe house in Malachor that has a teleportation circle.
in Malachor.
Mm.
Oh,
So we could just go there.
I admit I've never been. I've heard plenty of stories.
Then this should be fun.
Why did you say that in a way that I'm now concerned?
No, there's no concern. It was an interesting city. I got to know the sheriff while we were there.
Fascinating. I mean, if that is a safe house,
It
I
is. It's not known by anyone.
I admit, the idea of taking refuge in a small bungalow-like cottage in the corner is not as appealing as just going back home. Um,
Did you say
what?
it's a proper manor?
Your safe house is a manor?
It's not my manor, but it's a safe house.
Whose manor is it? You don't just
Right.
steal a manor.
We didn't steal it. We came into it legally.
I did. Look, I'm not trying to assume anything. Mercenaries and adventurers go about things very differently than the legal world typically likes
It
to accept.
belongs to the bloodline of one of my party members.
He looks at Anscombe.
No.
Anscombe's like, nope, not me. Nope. My family's a fishing family in Siren's Respite, not me. Don't look. I come from humble origins. uh, okay. Well, an estate in Malachor. That would be interesting.
Mhm.
I feel. Uh, I'm excited to see it.
We are getting it up and running still. It doesn't have any staff. It sat vacant for about 20 years or something like that.
Oh, I can help with that. I've
That we were
managed my.
actually hoping you'd say so.
I'm. What do you mean?
We need staff.
Oh, to handle the particulars, of course. I mean, I've been managing the Kraus estate for 18 years. I'd be happy to handle another one. Um, would you mind if I brought some professionals from home, or is that a bad
I
idea?
am assuming it's fine. I will talk to the owner
Oh, very well.
shortly,
Sure.
like in like the next couple of minutes.
Okay. So what is next then? Well, before you say anything else, the steps. Um, I have been discussing the separation of Lily from you with a good friend of mine. He is a. He's called a soul finder. He's a cleric of Tysus, one who's been with the. Did you know that Tysus was a Gith in life? You didn't come through at all.
I said, did Lorna know that?
Roll a history check. The DC is 25.
Natural 20 for a 30.
Yeah, you did know that somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I read it in a book once.
Well, as profound as that revelation could be to some, Gith are famous for being native to the astral. And they have also, in their abilities with psionics, developed many mechanisms for soul magic. And, as such, a cleric of Tysus happens to know some secrets. And I spoke of what he saw when he inspected you when you were very young. It is the same man.
Mhm.
Um, he said the souls could be separate, but without a place for the separated soul to go, it would be lost.
Right,
And
so if we have the forged body
it,
with us,
right,
the separate.
um, my artificer has access to the means, the magic jar, the components, the form. All that really has to happen is when you are ready, we must teleport to the Scrollkeepers Guild. We will make the short trek in Irongate to the Artificer's Workshop. I will have reached out to the Soulfinder, and he will perform the ritual that separates you and Lily. Lily will then be attracted by the magic jar, function into the form of her new forged body. That is, from what I understand, how it will work.
Okay. Um, do you know how long it would take to make a forged body like that?
Um, I'm willing to fund most of this endeavor, as it was my idea. I will
I,
require.
I'm willing to help too.
Well, I'm getting there. I will require about 500 gold pieces, specifically for the transmutation inverter.
She puts 500 gold pieces on the table and pushes it over.
You are doing well for yourself, are you not?
I was kind of made for this.
Well, he gathers it up, and he says, "Consider that handled." I believe depending on Lily's preferences, which I'm going to send you some sketches, and you're going to speak with Lily and decide the form that she wishes, any, qualifications, any abilities the body might have. If it's a simple forged form, 2 weeks. More complications, more time.
Okay.
And also, I'm very pleased that she's willing to humor this. It feels as though 18 years have not gone astray. Now that, And take it from my manservant, it's not so bad.
She looks at Keen.
He looks at you, looks at Cross, and then just says, "It's about the same."
Can Lorna just do a brief vibe check? Like, he doesn't seem like one who wears a lot of emotion on his face, but like, how is he taking this whole conversation?
Roll an insight check.
Okay. 30, 20.
With a dirty 20, you realize Keen has been looking at you with like a look of relief, like he's glad that you're okay.
Aw.
He's been taking the conversation, like he knows all this stuff about.
Uh-huh.
About
This is
Rhaenys.
not his first time hearing
No.
this, yeah.
But as he's looking at you and at Anscombe, there is a protective quality to his presence there. Mostly he just seems like someone whose worries have been assuaged.
I like Keen.
He hasn't said much, and it's very hard
He
to
doesn't
read
need
him,
to.
but yeah, he's quiet. And I mean, you knew him when you were a little girl. He's been around for a while. So it's like a quiet big brother appearance.
Oh, I like him so much. I'm so glad I didn't have to fight him.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. Okay, so we have kind of a game plan.
We do. First, I will contact my artificer and have him courier some templates with which you can review them with Lily.
Did
when
you
have
go
the
to the
time.
post and parcel to message me this morning?
Yes.
Okay. So
Very
you already
handy
know where
little
that
shop.
is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's excellent. Whew, this is not how I expect this conversation to go, but I hadn't talked to Lily in a minute about the forging, so I'm also excited because she and I have grown closer in the time that we've spoken
I
to each
imagine
other.
it
I
would be
think
impossible not to.
it did not start great. I had a perception of her that was biased from the journal.
I see. You should know my first encounter with Atlantis did not go well either.
Wasn't she helping or sort of legal proceedings with an acquaintance of yours who died?
Yes, you have a good memory. She thought I was snide and greasy, is how she described me to my face.
Well, were you?
I admit,
Too much
yes,
pomade.
I had been used to a protocol of manipulating people in a way that I'm not proud of.
You both have very much grown as people, I think.
I certainly hope so. Now I'm focused in the manufacturing of arcane prosthetics and forged, and it's a much more heartwarming.
You found your niche.
I did. I actually meant to ask you about your arcane prosthetic. Have you considered an upgrade?
Did you say that hurts?
You're not a forged.
Oh, you could just pop it off, couldn't you?
It's you. We sever your attunement to the prosthetic hand, and then we make you a new one that is maybe has a different enchantment or different effects built into it.
I would be amenable to that because the that it has currently has been, what's the word? Redundant
I
from
see. Yes.
other elements of my progression.
Well, if you have an idea in mind, we have. I mean, obviously, you would get the family discount.
We'll talk about it,
Of
but
course.
that sounds great.
Um, I do have a question.
Mhm.
I'm really glad this conversation has gone splendidly. Um, he points at your horns. Are you
Yeah.
in a pact?
Yes.
Is it one that you are uncomfortable with?
Not at the present moment.
And you said it was a different devil than.
The one that Lily knew and worked with.
So it is a devil. Do
It
you.
was the boss of the one that Lily worked with. The higher ranking one.
I see. How
I
did you
was
meet this
feeling
devil?
a Marigard.
He's a sponsored devil. They offer devilish
They
patrons
do.
to them.
They do.
This place has a
They've got
very interesting
everything.
regime for their business.
I was feeling personally offended by what I perceived to be the actions of the devil that Lily used to work with, and I may have made a rash decision to go above him and make a pact with his boss to
That
spite
is
him.
just like your mother. Oh, nine hells. That is exactly something she would do.
And thus far, the pact has served me well, minus the one time I really did not please him. And then the horns happened.
They do accentuate your features relatively well.
It's not the worst thing that could have happened. Don't say that too loud because then he'll be like, "That wasn't a punishment," and he'll do something worse, probably.
I suspect, as a devilish patron, he does nothing by accident.
That's true. The hair, she kind of gestures to the red streaks. That came with the pact. That wasn't a punishment. That was a signifier. The horns came when I
Ah, I see.
did something arguably foolish. I don't think what I did was foolish, but
I suspect he made that decision to alter your appearance, to stamp you as connected to a fiend.
and it's not something I'm ashamed about.
Many are. Not ashamed, I mean, stamped or connected to a fiend.
Mhm.
Anyway, um, thank you for being honest with me. I'm glad to know that it was not.
I think we're past deception here.
I hope so. So
Bless you.
then, um, is there perhaps a place that we can meet the rest of your crew, or is
We
now
could do
not the
it now.
time? Oh,
She'll like in the booth, she'll like lean over and like knock on like the divider between their tables and be like, "Well, you can come over now."
they like fucking like Loeth, Norre, and Skolna's heads like Scooby Doo over the top of the divider. Oh,
Do do do
hello.
do.
And they do eventually like come around the table. Um, Tier is the first one to speak, and he says, "Well, hey there. We were worried you might be a groomer of some kind, but you seems like a decent fellow." That is the gist of the worry, from what I understand. Yes. You, I believe, are Tier Patalis. I saw you in the fall festival as well.
He did his research. That's so cute.
Tier like does a little bow. So as named, you know me, or at least you recognize me. I'm
Your
not sure.
reputation precedes you,
That's
Tier.
concerning, that is. But I suppose we all deal with our realities as we come across them. And he steps forward and holds out his hand to shake. Balun Cross does shake his hand, and then he looks at the rest of the party. I believe that is Skolna. I've only seen her once on the Skyview.
She's good.
I can tell. And Skolna nods and doesn't approach or get any closer. You see that she is appraising the shit out of Balun Cross.
Can Lorna maybe glean what her impression is of him?
Roll an insight check.
I said maybe. God, this would be a great time for natural 20. No. It's 22 though.
Skolna's hard to
No
read.
chance.
No, I'm afraid not.
Damn.
She now has reliable talent, so good
Heck,
fucking luck.
She can't roll under like
she
25 probably.
Basically. And then you see Nore gives a proper courtly grace bow, and she says, "We haven't been introduced, and I somehow doubt that I'm quite as well known as Lorna's other compatriots, but I'm Nore Skilder." And Balun bows back, and he says, "Oh, it's a pleasure to meet him. Are you a blade maiden?" And Nore stands tall, and she just nods and says, "Used to be. Now a mercenary contractor. But the old ties don't go away." I recognize the accent. We had some dealings with blade maidens. We can talk about that another time.
Oh, this is news to me.
Yeah, it would be. The Majere family used to ship helpful arms and weapons to the Misty Vale. Not for a small sum of coin or lilac horn, but it was a trade that we made a lot, and frequently blade maidens would sail with the envoy, so they always had a unique way about them. It's a pleasure to see one so far south. And Nore just shrugs and says, "I stumbled and kept tripping. Now I'm down here."
And now she's a nightingale.
I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm glad to hear that. For the first time, since looking at your party, not since looking at you, but looking at your party, he looks genuinely impressed. Lilith, kind of presses up next to Tier and holds out her hand, and she just says, "Lilith Noish." And immediately, Balun's like, "Noish? Of the Noish? Noish?
Up the sending box, no-ish.
I have the communication box." And Lilith just, "Yeah." I didn't know they had a tiefling, child. But it's a pleasure to meet you, and of course, it's not a problem. And Lilith just, you see, she smirks and just holds out her hand to shake, and she says, "Used to it by now. It's fucking fine." Remus just kind of shakes the hand, and he gives kind of an awkward chuckle, and he says, "I feel as though the fucking was required in that reply. Yes, of course."
It was.
Burke,
There's Burke.
who's behind everyone, he just kind of looks up and says, "I'm a Vionite on pilgrimage, and this team is the subject of my thesis." And Balun looks at him and says, "Fascinating. So, you don't really fight with them, then?"
No. He's healed in a one-off situation.
One can only look the other way for so long. And if one of them were to actually perish, I can't let that happen. I can't just stand there idly by. I'm glad that Vionites like you happen to have such a strong sense of right and wrong and justice.
He's found us heroic enough to stick around this long.
Burke, you see he, like, winces just a little bit.
Is heroic the right word for you people?
But he doesn't say anything
I said
else.
heroic enough. I didn't say we were the definition of heroism.
You didn't say that. That's right.
And I wouldn't because it's not true.
You did mention trying to avoid deceit, which is great.
I did.
Yeah,
And have been.
I know.
Okay. Good. Good, great. We're on the same page.
Burke's just, like, as very, like, stoic-faced, placating as he stands behind the party. Balun looks amused as he looks between the two of you in that exchange, and he says, well, it is a pleasure to meet you all. I've heard many things, mostly from her, about all of you. The Nightingales.
That's right.
I must ask, which of you does the manor that your safe house belong to? And Tyr looks at him and says, you'll never guess. It's not you, is it? And Tyr just, no. Not
Well,
at
you
all.
said never, so of course he picked you, the one who was the least likely to have a manor.
Hey, I could
You're a
if I really
ruffian.
wanted to. A ruffian,
You're a
how dare
scraggle
you?
muffin.
Okay, that doesn't even mean anything.
But you got the vibe.
Yeah, okay. Nice to talk to you too, Lorna. While that conversation between the two of you is happening, like, Balin is, like, looking around the party. You're right. My first guess would be Ms. Noish. But with the daggers she's staring at me, I have to assume not. And Lilith just says, I'm not staring daggers, it's just my face.
That is just her face.
Right. And then finally Skolna says, it's me. Balin, like, turns and looks at her, eyebrows, like, up in his, like, hairline, and he says, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to assume, but you
You could not have possibly.
I am surprised. But now
So
that
is she.
No, I can see it. You have the cheekbones.
She
And
does have excellent cheekbones.
Skolna, like, looks at him and, like, just kind of, like, furrows her brow, like, trying to understand what that means. And subtly she just goes, noble cheekbones.
Mm-hmm. She also has the cutest dimples if she smiles.
Skolna looks at you, and you feel slightly threatened for your life.
You'll probably never see them. But I've seen them.
Oh, no pressure. You don't have to reveal them for my sake. However, I don't know if you heard, but Lorna here said that you required some assistance staffing your safe house, your manor.
Mm-hmm.
And I do happen to have quite a bit of experience in staffing my own estate. If you would like, I'd be happy to assist. Or is that not something you're interested in? And Skolna immediately goes, no, we need help.
We need a lot of help. None of us know what we're doing. None of us have ran a household before.
He seems, like, taken aback by her immediate response without hesitating, but he just nods and says, fascinating. Let me reach out to my own contacts and see if they have any recommendations for services in Malachor. You said that your estate is in Malachor, or is it, like, in
That's
the
right.
outskirts?
It's in Malachor.
capital city estate. That is remarkable.
You're gonna have a busy morning at the post and parcel.
I am, yes. I'd better actually get started, or I'm going to be doing this well into the afternoon.
And we should, get there quickly, just because Hale knew Fionn was in Ferrum, and while Fionn is likely not in Ferrum anymore, I couldn't tell you where she went.
What happened with Fionn? I forgot to ask.
We met her, we got some information out of her. There was a fight. She decided in the last minute that she cared more about me than she did about following orders. But that didn't mean she was safe to stick around, so she absconded.
She cared more about you. What? Uh, I mean, I'm pleased to know that, but how did you find out?
She proved it. Where she could have followed through with her orders without resistance, or she
What?
could choose.
Lorna, what were her orders?
I feel like if I tell you, I'm just gonna get yelled at again.
I
And
am
she just
in
kind of glumly scuffs
I
the
am in
floor.
no place to yell at you for any of your decisions.
Told her if she had to kill me, I didn't think she would, but if she would, but
You cut out.
I said if she had to kill me, I didn't think she could, but if she thought she could, I told her to prove it.
And she chose not to.
And she chose not to. And everyone here was very upset with me. So, I've heard it all.
I do understand why they would be upset with you. I admit I'm not exactly pleased at that gamble. But I'm pleased it worked out for you.
It means that we might have an ally in her later. I think if she doesn't get killed by her mistress immediately, we might be able to talk to her at some point.
I think that is a stone best left to tumble down the hill it is set, and when it is finished, we
That's when we
polish it
figure
up.
it out.
Yes.
Hmm.
Right.
My
How?
point is, we should leave Ferrum sooner rather than later. So sort your messages.
I gathered that, yes. I will, and he, like, drains the mug of clava that was set before him. I will immediately proceed to the post and parcel and get my own messages sent out. The rest of you finish your affairs, and I will meet you in, say, and he pulls out like an old pocket watch, and he clicks it open, and he says, in an hour in front of the academy. Does that work?
Sure. She'll actually look at Keen and say, please keep him alive while he is running around.
Kane just looks at you, and he just says, I have so far.
Great job.
Sometimes it's harder than it needs to be.
I bet. I get that from him.
Lord Balun Cross has stood up, and he gives a small bow to everyone, and he says, it has been a pleasure. I have a very full rest of the morning. I will see you all shortly. With love, Lorna. Be safe. And he turns, and a man with purpose strolls out of the tavern, and Keen says, my lord.
Please stay with Keen.
He just turns and looks at the whole party, and he just says, till later. And Keen jogs out after Lord Balin
Like
Cross.
the big footsteps that shake the building.
Yep. And it's come next to you, just,
That went so well. You did great.
I almost said way too much, like way too early.
It was really cute.
Do you think he thinks so? Because
I think he
yikes.
respects you. I think he thinks you're really capable and strong and intelligent.
I think you think that. I hope he thinks okay, fine. Great. I'm really glad that he's really seemed pleased to see you. I'll say that before anything else. Ugh.
Who
Okay.
isn't pleased to see me?
Do we want to go down that hill?
No, I don't.
Okay. We have work to do. We got to go talk
Yes,
to
we need to go to
Glass.
class. And probably Secca,
Right, we
if
can
Glass
handle
can't make those adjustments.
Secca like as we're preparing to meet your pop. Right now we
Yeah.
got to get down to the magic shop.
The Griffin's back.
And your party, like everyone has finished their breakfast and everyone just kind of stands up and all right, you all know this place the best. I didn't really wander about Ferrum too much, so lead the way.
You don't know where the Griffin's bag is?
No, I went out
We
in
went
the
there during the trial, the fucking fall festival.
yeah. Everything looks different now.
Ugh,
Okay,
come on,
you want to know the real
Ranger.
answer? Is I want to look at Skolna's butt, so I'm going to be in the back. Go.
Why didn't you just say that?
I did just now.
Can I interpret Skolna's reaction to that?
You see
I
Skolna
might
look at
roll it
Tier, and she just nods.
I got a glare for pointing out her dimples, but Tara can talk about her butt.
They've had sex.
I mean, if Skolna was down.
She's clearly not. She's
She's
know,
clearly
and I'm
hetero.
so
So disappointed in it. Why did I have to be cursed with a heterosexual Skolna?
sorry.
Okay, Lorna leads the way.
All right. You head out to Ferrum. Okay, so that conversation with Lord Balun Cross, and everything that went down was a lot. How is Lorna feeling as you make your way down Ferrum's main street?
I think she's feeling pretty good. She's happy with the majority of how the conversation went. She was surprised to hear Lily's opinion about being forged, that she seems to be less passive and less resigned than she has been previously, and how she wants to kind of take the onus of reparations for her misdeeds as opposed to leaving that for Lorna to do for her. That's a change. And it's not like Lorna thought like, ugh, she's making me solve her problems for her. It was just like she just didn't have, that spark of life to persevere, but it seems to have been reignited in her. So she's delighted by that. She didn't want to say goodbye to Lily. But if that's what Lily had wanted to be put at rest, finally, she would have accepted it, sadly. But to potentially have this woman in her life for longer, she's thrilled.
Okay. Well, with those thoughts in mind, you arrive in front of the Griffin's bag. It's wide glass facade showing all sorts of magical components and gear and jars and objects. And as you approach it, that is where we're going to stop tonight's session.
Gotcha.
Thank you for playing with me. I hope you had a good time. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching,
hi, Sleepy.
Hi, Sleepy. Hi, Pen. Hi, Class. Hi, Emily. Hi, everybody else. We love you all. And I wish you a good night.